So you've created your project with us on Developer Connection. You've found your 5 free matches to developers. What criteria do you need to think about when picking between those 5 and which is the best fit for your project? Well, I've got some good news for you already, and that is that because of our automatic matching technology, we've already given you the shortlist, so that's your starting point. You don't have to filter through loads of applicants who are clearly not suitable for your particular project. We do this because we take the profile that the developer gives us, showing their skills and experience in developing Magento, and we take your project where you've defined the criteria you need and what you need to be completed for your project, and we match those two automatically to give you the developers who have the skills and have the experience to work on your project. So you know that any of those 5 technically can complete your work. But there are some other things that you need to think about, aren't there? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Any experienced Magento developer will have spent many years and many thousands of hours developing the Magento framework day in, day out. This means they're the kind of person that has a natural aptitude for development, and they naturally genuinely enjoy Magento development work, and this can be communicated to you as a client in one way really: enthusiasm. If you see that a developer is enthusiastic, it means they're really enjoying their job, that they're keen to get a new job under their belts and work on a new store. That's a really good sign for you as a client, so look out for that. You might want to talk to the developer about some aspects of your project before you actually decide to hire them or not. If you talk to them and they can openly give you suggestions and thoughts around what you're discussing with them, and they make sense to you and they're communicated in a clear way that a non-developer can easily understand, that's a really good sign that they are good and experienced and they want to be involved in your project. So that's a really good sign of someone who is probably going to be a pretty good fit for your project. So look out for enthusiasm. Another thing which is a really great indicator of the skills and experience of a developer is their work history. So what have they worked on in the past? What projects have they got under their belt? What clients have they worked with? And also look for things like their open source contributions. Are they active in the Magento community? Are they on the forums? Are they contributing things to maybe the Magento project itself, maybe something else in their own extensions or something along those lines? But are they contributing and are they active? That's a good sign as well. References are also great, so it's really useful to be able to read references, and if you feel that it's needed, contact their references and get first-hand their take on what it was like working with that developer, what work was delivered, was it on time, was it on budget, all the things that are important to you as a client. Talk to the previous references if you feel like you need to. Generally you can get a pretty good feel for the developer just from talking to them and getting their take on your project. You can get a feel for what they're like, but if you want that little bit of extra backup and that little bit of extra information, then references can be a really great place to go. But I would definitely recommend that you look at their work history and the projects they've been involved in, and that can give you a good overall feel and general thought about how good a fit this particular developer is going to be for your project. So the last thing I want to talk about is one area which I feel doesn't offer such a good indication of a really skilled and experienced Magento developer. It might surprise you because there's a lot of hype around this in previous years, especially when it was first launched, and that's Magento certification. Now, don't get me wrong, it definitely has its place in the community and it definitely tests certain knowledge about the Magento platform and certain development knowledge, but it shouldn't be seen as a replacement for real world experience and real world projects having been completed for real clients such as yourself. So think about that as a factor in amongst everything else. You know, you can definitely consider have they got certification or not. It may weigh to some extent in their favour for you, but I would suggest that you more look at their historic work and their real world experience and what the clients that they've worked with before have said about them, because you can do a test, but it doesn't make you the most experienced, the most skilled in that area. Take for instance, if you have a driving test, I don't think anybody would argue that once you first passed your driving test you're suddenly a highly skilled and highly experienced driver. That takes many years of driving to get to that level. So take that as a factor in your decision if you want to certification, but it shouldn't be considered the be all and end all. So for instance, if you are communicating with a developer and they sound really good, their experience looks good, the references are good, everything seems to be fitting into place, don't let a lack of official Magento certification put you off that developer, because you're very likely on the right track picking that person even if they don't have certification. So obviously it's up to you as a client how much weight you want to put on the certification. It may be for you that it's a make or break, but I would suggest that there's many developers out there who are not certified who would do a really great job in developing your store. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that it's given you some really useful pointers and some really useful applicable principles which will help you to pick exactly that right developer for your project. And next time we're actually going to be talking about how to work towards and build up a really trusted, great relationship between developer and client.